Hey everybody, this is our fifth and last video on how to create this room based off of my Fortnite video. If you haven't checked out any of the previous videos, make sure you check them out. Step one was to make the room. Step two was to add the bricks. Step three was to work on this tile floor. And our last video was step four, which was adding the wooden plank wall on the right-hand side. This video is our last one, so we're going to talk about adding the painting here on the left-hand side and just kind of finishing this picture up. So for today, you're going to need a pencil and a straight edge or a ruler, and you should have your drawing up to this point where you have your brick wall, your tiles, and your wooden wall. And make sure you know where your vanishing point is in the video or in your picture. What we're going to do first is we're going to figure out how to make this painting that hangs on the wall, and then we'll talk a little bit about drawing that llama. If you want to do the llama, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. So the first thing we want to do is figure out where the painting is going to begin on the wall and end on the wall. So we're going to be drawing two vertical lines first that represent where the painting begins and ends. And it's up to you where you want them on the wall. Maybe you want them closer towards the center or further back. As long as you're making two completely vertical lines with your ruler. You may end up wanting to do this nice and lightly because you'll have to go back and erase some of it later. But let's say I want my picture to be about that wide. So I have my two vertical lines drawn. The next step is to connect these bottom lines and top line angled back to the vanishing point. So you want to figure out where your vanishing point is. Get your ruler so that it touches the vanishing point and use that as an angle to figure out where you want the bottom of your painting to be. Now you decide. The higher up makes it angle in the opposite direction. If it's lower, it's going to be a steeper angle. I'm just going to say right here, this is where my ruler's at on the vanishing point. I'm going to draw my diagonal line in between the two edges of my painting where I wanted it. And then I'm going to draw the top edge of my painting. So I want my ruler to be on the vanishing point still. This is the first vertical line I drew. This is the second vertical line I drew. I'm just going to make my diagonal line by tracing my ruler right in between those two spaces. So there's the top and bottom of my painting. Now I'm going to take an eraser and erase where these lines went over. You don't need those lines anymore, and this is why you draw lightly with your pencil. Now to make your painting look like it's really thick and coming off of the wall, I add a little side edge to it so that it looks like it's on a canvas. So the way that I did that was I just lined up my ruler right next to the left edge of my painting. Made a little space there, and I just drew a parallel line right alongside of it. Nice vertical line. And then I used my ruler to draw a perfectly horizontal line. So I want it to be just as straight as the edge of my paper. I'm just going to try and make a nice straight line that goes directly sideways across, and that makes that little edge there. So there's the painting. The last part is if you want to make this little llama for your painting. So the way that I did this little llama was I actually started with the harness and the eye first. So on my painting, I drew like a little check mark, and this is actually going to become the harness. You can even kind of like double it if you want to make it thicker. And I drew a big oval for the eye. Let me zoom in so you can see this a little better. Oval for the eyeball. Okay, from there, I just made a curve that started on the inside of this check mark, went around the eyeball, and came to the other side. For the mouth, I made the mouth come down across, and then I kind of made like a little opening in that mouth because he has a little opening where there's teeth that hang out. Then I did from this side, right where the end of the chin is, it went straight down. And this side of the harness, it went straight down. And I added little like L shapes in here. These are like the little papers, that little texture on the neck of that llama. They look little backwards L's. Okay, last step, he needs some ears. So you're just going to draw almost like a rabbit ear. Nice big tall ear there. And then kind of like another one in that same shape, a little bit smaller behind it. So there's my llama. Again, you don't have to put the llama there if you don't want to. You can make your painting look like whatever you want. It's totally up to you. Make sure you do some finishing touches on this if you haven't done so already. You can erase. Let me find my eraser again. You can erase these lines that you were using for the bricks if you have space in your brick. You don't really need those lines there anymore. I'm also going to add a little bit of an edge to the sides of this brick here to kind of make these look a little bit more 3D. Top edge, bottom edge on this side. And there's my room. So when you're finishing up your room, you can go ahead and color it in or paint it. I did the space behind the bricks with some blue, and I also did some blue sky on the top, and I just added some nice quick clouds because usually when you drop into the game and it's daylight, you get some nice blue sky. And then I used watercolor paints. That's these. To paint the rest of this in, you could use whatever materials you have available to you at home, color pencil, crayons, markers, doesn't matter. It's entirely up to you. Enjoy it, color it in, have fun.